Hey everyone, Pete Warner here, coming to you from the new and improving Bob Varley studio in Orlando, Florida. I went back to the parks for the first time last week, and actually I was in the Magic Kingdom for the first time last week. But then since then, I've been in the Magic Kingdom again: Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Disney Springs, the Polynesian, and Animal Kingdom Lodge. And we'll be going back into parks and resorts over the next few weeks. And I just thought I would share my thoughts on the experience. Now, obviously, I'm not the first person to go back in the parks since they reopened. I was holding out, namely because I was, I am in a high-risk group. I'm a diabetic, so I have to be, I'm also 55. And not exactly the picture of health perfection. So, I've been very nervous, and I was nervous going back into the parks. I have to say, though, that first, Disney has done a tremendous job at managing this. The enforcement of mask wearing, the way the social distancing is set up in queues, and the fact that I think because Disney, with signs and announcements, is reminding everybody of these things constantly throughout the parks, throughout the day, people have fallen into line and are doing what they're, for the most part, doing what they're supposed to do. That went a long way in making me feel more comfortable. But there are still things I will not do. I will not eat indoors. I try not to be in any public indoor space for more than 10 minutes. Obviously, the exception being a hotel room, but even the lobby, or anything like that, a store, anything like that. Not going in for more than 10 minutes. Wearing my mask everywhere. Making sure my mask is appropriately fitted to my face, that it's around my nose, under my chin. Now, let me talk about the masks. The first day I was in last Thursday, the temperature was in the high 80s, but with the humidity, made it feel like it was 95. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal in the parks with the mask on. I don't like them. I don't think any of us like them. It was not comfortable for me. And so I kind of feel that if it's really hot out, I'm probably not going to go into the parks because it just was I loved being back, right? I did love being back. But, we ended up walking like 8 miles that day. Yeah. And, you're doing it all with basically Darth Vader on your face. And it was challenging. I'm not going to lie. It was challenging. But, there's the changes. It's a different experience, right? It's a different experience being in the parks in the age of COVID. And I wondered how I was going to react to that. And, you've got the cavalcades, right? This is the replacement for the parade. And they have one parade float coming down Main Street. I call it the Sadness Parade. It's cute, but, it was weird. It's new, it's different, it's change. And let's be honest, as a community, Disney fans don't embrace change. Well, okay? Great movie ride, a year before it closed, was a walk-on, pretty much. Then they announced they're closing it, and all of a sudden, everyone's beating their chest and screaming and crying and chaining themselves to the building. We don't embrace change. And I'm not criticizing. I'm right there with you. I'm not good at it. I use the expression all the time. I've never let go of anything that didn't have claw marks all over it. It was... So it was different, but I had this realization, and I posted this on my personal Instagram account, which is at PeteW126, I think. If it's not, Fiasco will put up a little thing to correct. That, yeah, there was a lot of changes, but the magic is kind of baked into the buildings. And that's not something that's ever going to be affected by a pandemic. Stepping foot back in the Magic Kingdom, because it's been a while since I've been back in the Magic Kingdom itself, probably about 10 months. It was like last Christmas I was there. And it was, like I said, it was different, but it's still the Magic Kingdom. And there's still something about it that, is that intangible, that X factor. No pandemic is going to take that away. No virus is going to take that away. But I was very mindful of the things that we're supposed to do to protect ourselves. So, wearing the mask, sanitizing the crap out of my hands every 60 seconds. I went through so much hand sanitizer every time I touched something, every time I touched a surface that and now it's kind of like, even like I'm in the house and I touch something, I'm like, oh, where's my sanitizer? But wearing the mask, making sure the mask fit properly. Making sure I kept social distance, making sure I wasn't indoors any more than I absolutely had to be. I do not eat inside restaurants. I will only eat outside. And yeah, is that kind of annoying? Sure it is. But you know what? I had a great time. And I felt fantastic being back. And then let's talk about cast members for a second. I had mentioned when the resorts first opened toward the end of June, I stayed at Bay Lake Tower, how grateful those cast members seemed to be back to work. That not only is still the case, but I think in light of the layoffs, they're even more grateful. And they were so friendly and engaging. It reminded me of the old days. I'll give you an example. We're over at Animal Kingdom Lodge, actually over at Kidani Village. And I needed a cup of coffee. Now, was staying in Jambo House, right? In the DVC units at Jambo House. And even though there are people at Jambo House and there are people staying in Jambo House, absolutely nothing is open. The Mara is not open. Chico and Boma aren't open. There's no place to get a cup of coffee. The only thing open was the pool bar. And I thought that was kind of stupid. At least open the Mara, right? And even if you're going to do a very scaled back menu, but just basic items for people staying in Jambo House. But right now, if you're staying in Jambo House, you got to go over to Kidani Village, which is not exactly convenient. But I was over in Kidani Village, and I wanted to get a cup of coffee. And, it's no longer self-serve with that stuff. There's a cast. It's behind a counter in the back of the gift store, the store. Lovely woman. Forgot her name. We're putting a picture of her up right now. We were just chit-chatting, having a nice conversation, and she gave me my coffee, and I fixed it. And I said, do I pay for this here, or do I go over to the other register? Because I realized then there was no register there. And she just looked at me and said, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, come on, it's fine. She's like, no, it's good. Don't worry about it. There was no reason for her to do that, right? I didn't have a bad experience. I, wasn't like something bad happened. Magic, right? Just a little, God, and that goes so far. It's amazing how far. Well, then again, now for a cup of coffee at Disney, regular cup of coffee at Disney World, you need to fill out a mortgage application. But it was just, and I was seeing little things like that. I've been seeing little things like that, and that stuff that's the secret sauce. And I hope if anything good comes out of this pandemic for Disney that it's that. That it's that. That they will, that there's this renewed sense of service brought into the parks. You know, I've talked about that for years, about how it kept going down and down. And I don't know if it's because I've been out of it for so long now, out of the parks for so long, or if there has been this genuine change. And if you hear noises, it's the garbage being picked up. Not sure how sensitive these mics are. But I don't know if it's because I've been out of the parks for a while, or if there has been a sea change in service and the attitude. I think maybe it's a combination of both, but it seemed like the cast members really appreciate being there. And I think me as a Disney fan appreciated being there and realized just how much I've missed it. So still have other experiences to do in the weeks coming, and I'm sure I'll have more to say about it. I do have more to say about the layoffs. Well, maybe I'll just say that here now, because I'm not going to be on today's show, or the Tuesday show. The 28,000 people laid off, I understood, and I think a lot of us did, that it was necessary. It's a business reality for Disney. And while we certainly weren't happy about it, we understood. And the community's come together brilliantly in supporting organizations for cast members. And I just want to use this opportunity to remind everybody we're raffling off a 4-night Disney cruise in 2021, courtesy of Dreams Unlimited Travel. And all of the money raised from that goes to the Second Harvest Food Bank here in Orlando, which has been very helpful to cast members. Link for that down below. And I think we understood the 28,000. Then the equity layoffs happened. Equity actors are the performers working on stage shows. These are not just face characters in the parks. These are people who are on stage, Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue, Frozen, things like that. All of those, even the Castle Forecourt stage, those are all equity actors. And massive layoffs among the equity actors. That was not met with the same response as the 28,000, nor should it have been. Because this wasn't about saving money for Disney. This was about Lex Luthor, or Bob Chapek, as he's known, as he was given at birth, name he was given at birth, doing something he's been wanting to do for a very, very long time. We can go back to right before Galaxy's Edge opened last year, and during an interview, when he because they were starting to already make cuts to the Citizens of Hollywood and other entertainers in the parks, long before COVID, right? Before COVID was a thing. He was already starting to make those cuts. And when he was asked about it by a reporter, he said, well, I think our cast members are entertainment, because he was pivoting to Galaxy's Edge and how everyone was in character and all this other stuff. And we, the community collectively roasted him for that, and with good reason. He's been wanting to do this for a while. And look, I understand you can't do Hoop-Dee-Doo right now. You can't put people for 2 hours in a building like that. Broadway's shut down. There are no theater shows going on anywhere. So I understand that. But you're not going to tell me there aren't other things you could creatively do with that amazing talent, the amazing talent of those performers, that there weren't other things you could have done in place of that. Disney's a great company with incredibly smart people. They could have come up with alternatives, but they didn't, because it wasn't about that. This was about using COVID as an excuse, and I feel like this is the first time I can say Disney did that. They used COVID as an excuse to do something they wanted to do before, but knew damn well they couldn't get away with. And I think it sucks that they did it. I think it sucks. And I'm pissed about it. Now, all that being said, let's hope that over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, they can bring many of these people back into the fold. But we're going to have to stay on them. We're going to have to stay on them as a community. We're going to have to stay on them and pressure them. Because while they may roll their eyes sometimes at the mention of Disney fans, they're terrified of us on social media. Trust me, terrified of us. So right now, things are crazy. We'll give them a pass for the moment. But as soon as things start getting better, we have to start demanding that these cast members be brought back. We have to start demanding these cast members be brought back. And I'll be a voice. I'll be a voice in the chorus. I'll be an absolute voice in the chorus. But all things considered, my experiences so far have been wonderful in the parks, in the resorts. Cast members that are there, fantastic. Show them your support. Thank them. If you're in the parks, thank them. Thank them, because they deserve our thanks. They deserve our support wherever we can give it. These people have given us, every single one of us, every single one of you watching this who's gone to Disney multiple times, has a story about a cast member that made a difference in your experience. I can still go back 25 years and tell you stories of cast members that did something, sometimes small, sometimes big, that just made this huge impact on me. And 99.9% of those experiences were incredibly positive and led to a big part of why I love Disney and why we love Disney. So those are just my thoughts on being back in the park. Like I said, I wasn't going to be on the show today, and wanted to get this out. And I'm not on the show today because I've got furniture being delivered, because my office is being redone. And yay. Changing everything, right? It's feast or famine with me. Studios undergone a whole transformation, which I'm still getting used to. What I'm looking at right now is so damn cool, though. You'll see that. Well, I'll make sure this goes up today. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow, on tomorrow's Moving to Orlando show, you will get a small look at the other set that we've created here in the studio, which I'm very excited about. So, all right, folks, that's my 5 cents for today. Thanks very much, and we'll talk soon.